This tutorial is going to set up a pretty tough ring that is going to use the curve network tool in the end. It's also going to show you some pave and some object or gem on a surface, gem on a curve functionality in the new Matrix version 6. Um, Basically, it's got a pretty tricky sort of a setup to it, so it's definitely an advanced model and requires the curve network tool to really complete. So we're going to start with a ring. With a ring rail from the Tools menu. Also set out a gem using gem loader. And roll some of this up and find a good size gem. Okay. This setup begins with curve from two views in order to get um, a sweeping crossover profile that goes this way, and that also completes the taper of the ring. So to take a look at that, we'll go to first to the curve menu. And I like to use the single line tool to help me draw these little cues for the blend command. So we'll start at the quadrant of the rail. And we'll start a short distance away from the gem. And we'll blend between these two curves from one end to the other. Okay, and now we're going to turn on our control points and just edit this line until we like the results. This line we're going to take, we'll join it up to its buddy there at the bottom only, and offset this curve. Okay, we can use the through-point option and just see how far we want this to go in the offset command. Not quite that far, probably right there. Okay, the next order of business is just to chop these off at the quadrant of the rail. So I'm going to take the two curves that I just placed and split them with the surface at in the looking down view, which is just going to eliminate everything past the halfway mark of the ring round. Okay. All right, this guy's just a little tick mark there, so I can delete him. And I'm going to create the shape of this in the side view now. I'll use a new layer color with the single line tool. Just figure out how I want the ring to taper at the bottom and place about up here. Mirror this curve, holding down shift, and then I can blend between the two curves at the top. Just figure out the height you want for this ring. It should match or be below the red curve. So if you want it to be a little higher, click and drag the control points. Okay, you can make it match with or be just below the red curve, either one of those. Okay, and join up all three blue curves, and now you're ready for curve from two views. I grab a new layer color for this. Red and blue make purple, right? So that's kind of fun. And go ahead and run the curve from two views command with one curve and that guy, and the other curve, oops, this curve and this curve. Okay, and that's going to create your purple curves, okay, that move around in space. We'll job bag this. All right, the next order of business is to get profiles on here. So let's turn off some of these layer colors. Grab our creation layer. And this one at the bottom is easy. This little channel that we're about to draw is going to fade away as it reaches the bottom of the ring. So there's one profile. The other profile lives at the top here. And we're going to make sure our O snaps are on. Go ahead and place this right about here. Figure out the height you want for that profile. duplicate this from the end to the other side, making sure it's planar as you do this. They should both be in a straight line. One shouldn't stick out somewhere past the grid there. Okay. And then as a little guideline, we're going to draw ourselves a little curve between these two. This is not going to be a closed profile. Okay, this is just a little guide for us. Copy this little upright guy again and just shift and click somewhere to the width of the channel. And mirror this around the halfway mark. And one more curve. We're going to trim this one away. And let's blend between the tops of these. Finally, trim all this out. This guy we can throw out, delete, and trim all these away to create our shape. Good. For a final time here, let's fillet between these two curves. It has to be really small radius, 0.1 is used here. And now let's join these all together. Do not, or you can, for right now, don't join the sides. We'll leave them on orange and take a look. The ones that we've joined only, okay, not the sides here. We're going to go ahead and rebuild. We're not going to worry about joining up the sides yet, okay? See if that works, okay? And now we can join up the sides, but you want these to be separate from the top here. That's an important step. Okay, join these up. Good. Now we have a profile at the top and a profile on the side to sweep to. So let's go ahead and run sweep to between the two rails and the two profiles. Okay, that creates a pretty neat shape. Put this on the metal color because the channel begins at the top and then fades away into a straight line at the bottom into the side of the ring. Okay, to proceed, go ahead and select this whole surface together with its creation curves and mirror it around F4 to the other side of the ring. Okay, because what we really want to do is make one go over the other and the other one go under its neighbor. And right now we've got two crossing through each other perfectly. So we need to place another profile here and resweep this so that one goes over and one goes under. And yes, this is the tricky part. Okay. So we're going to grab a new layer color for that. Use the extract iso curve command. And begin at the top of this on one of the surfaces. And just toggle this with the T and get this about right at the middle. And since it's only extracting from one surface at a time, run that command again on the sides until you have the whole profile. Sometimes it wants to do weird things. Turn off the other O snaps if it's not behaving. Okay. Also make sure you select the correct surface, that'll help. Okay, let's right click on orange and join these all together. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other surface with a new layer color. Extract isocurve. Extract isocurve on this guy, right at the midpoint of the other profile. Great. And repeat. Extract isocurve on the sides of the shape and on the other side of the shape. Right click to select them all and join them up. Now these green surfaces, remember they have to go away, so just delete them. Now before we can sweep these, we have to make one go over and one go under. And in this view you can see right where they overlap. So I'm going to select one of them, and rather than scaling it or anything else, I'm going to turn on its control points. I'm going to grab all the ones at the top here. I'm going to find a place to snap to and just 1D scale these up. And I want to make sure this goes in a straight line so it doesn't get pulled off of the center. Okay, escape twice and do the same thing on the other profile. Turn on the control points, grab all but the last couple, and this time we're going to 1D scale them down. Just holding down shift to move this in straight lines. You don't want it to poke through its neighbor. Okay, escape twice, and let's sweep this. Sweep 2 with a new layer color. 2 rails, and select all the profiles that are perpendicular to or touching these rails. Okay. Run that again with the other set of profiles. Okay. Okay, and they can still be seen, so we have a little more work to do. Let's take a look again. Turn these guys' control points on, and you can even grab the stuff just in the middle there. Just make sure you're using 1D scale to make sure it goes in a straight line. See why we rebuilt this without the other without the other parts connected? That's the trick in this ring. Move these up. Okay, we'll try that again. Sweep 2 between the 2 rails and the profiles that touch it. Okay, grab a new layer color, sweep 2 again, 2 rails and the connecting profiles. And let's see what the outcome is. Great. The thing that we didn't change was the fact that these 2 profiles lay both of them on the rails, so we should be able to split one with the other. Famous last words. To do so, right-click on the layer color and run the split command and split it with the other layer color. Enter. One surface split into 3 pieces. Do the same thing again. Right-click on the second layer color this time and split it with right-click on the first layer color. You want to grab all those little pieces to use as cutting objects. And again, it was split into 3 pieces, and now you can just delete the intervening sections. Everything that's not touching. Okay, and now because these 2 touch exactly, you can select them and join them up. You can now mirror this to create the other side of the ring and join the 2 sides together. Let's drop back this. Okay, the next thing to do is to finish off the sides of this ring. So with the creation layer color, we're going to use the arc direction and create a nice little arc right here for the side of the ring. Use the single line tool to complete the profile right on the inside here. Be very careful that you snap to the end. Snap to the right end, the end of the edge of the surface. Okay. Now we have an interesting dilemma right here. We need a surface that touches all of these things. And we also want to define it in this view. We want to give it a little more shape. Okay, so let's use arc direction from the mid to our end up here. And just go ahead and give this a nice little shape. We want to define if it sticks way out. We want to define the shape of that. Okay, you can actually make this anything it could. It could do lots of different things right in that in that view. But now our problem is that we have 1, 2, 3 rails and 1, 2 profiles. Now the only way we're going to be able to sweep this and make it look good is with the curve network tool. If we were to use sweep 2, we would get a big, I don't know, we call it a butt, but it looks like a big kink right in the middle of the surface. And we want a nice smooth surface there so we can pave on it. And it's also going to create a single surface rather than a poly surface. Okay, so for curve network, we need to have 1, 2, 3. We'll have 3 rails and 2 profiles. Now, because this curve's all joined up here, we could use the surface edge, but the surface edge is going to break right there. So we're going to create ourselves a new um, a new curve using the dupe edge command right here along the inside edge. Join these two, or press enter to dupe the edges and then join them up while they're still selected. Now when we run curve network, we've got the polysurface edge, ends right there. The polysurface edge, again it ends right there. We've got our new green curve, or we've got the third one running in the same direction. It likes you to select the ones in the same direction. Then we've got our new green curve and our yellow profile. Press enter and hit OK. And it's going to draw that so that it follows our curve in this view as well as touching all the rest of the parts of the design. Okay, we can take this and rotate and copy it over to the other side of the ring. Okay, the last step is just to close this ring up. So let's get rid of the gem for a moment. Create a new profile up here using the single line tool from the end to the end, and make sure you get the right end here. They have to be the ones that touch. And we're going to just sweep to this. We've got two rails as our polysurface edges and one profile. Okay, and repeat, sweep to with the two edges and the profile. Finally, to sweep the inside of this ring, we've got a profile down here and we've got some rails with the polysurface edges. So select the edges as your rails and the profile. Okay. And complete the same thing on the other side. Edge, edge. Oops, actually for this one we could just mirror it because it's the same thing on both sides. Now let's take everything on this layer color and join it up. And we're ready to create the bottom of the ring. Now if we bring back some of those creation curves, we can see we wanted a nice taper in this, which is easy to do. We're going to run curve from two views again. On the blue curve and the inside finger rail. Okay, repeat. Let's get the other side. Okay. And we've got our profiles already in place because we have curves. We need curves that touch all of the outside of this ring, and we've got them when we use the dupe border command. So with a new layer color, select dupe border and choose that surface. Enter. Now it's going to put curves wherever there's an open edge. You can see we got one we didn't want. Okay, that's all right. Explode our surface, and let's kind of fix this guy up. So we didn't mean to explode it. Instead of exploding it, we'll just use extract surface. Okay, let's make sure these are drawn correctly. We're going to place another profile up there. You don't want any open edges here. So we'll place it from the end to the end. And we'll go ahead and draw another one on this side from the end of this edge. Make sure you get the right end here to the end of the edge. And let's run that one more time. Sweep two between our surface edges and the profiles that touch them. Run the same thing on the other side between the edge the edge, the profile, and the profile. Now let's try and join those up. And we'll dupe the border and see if we get any extra curves this time. Of course, it never happens when I practice. It only happens when I turn on the video. There we go. 2 borders is all we wanted. That's the only thing open on this model, which is good. Sweep 2, and now our 2 rails are this bottom taper of the ring, and our 2 profiles are the new curves. Curve and curve. Okay, make sure you set these up so that the seam points are correct. Okay. You can place this onto the same layer color and join up that ring. One closed ply serves as what we wanted to see. So that's how you close up this ring, despite the fact that it's doing an over-under thing on a part of the model that's definitely not planar. Definitely has a lot of things going on. And we just used the control point trick in order to shrink and grow these 2 profiles just in the slightest bit so that they'd overlap. But if you just scale them, the scale is going to be off by just so much that it won't let you split one with the other, and it's really a pain. So that's how to solve this little puzzle here of this model. The other trick we used was to get this interesting surface here using curved network so that we could define not just 2 but actually 3 rails, 2 from the sides of the ring and 1 from this through finger that we wanted to control, and finally so that the ring would come in and touch the rest of its profiles and just create a nice seamless surface there. The next part of this tutorial will be to place gems and to pave the surface.